EA just dropped a ton of information about Madden 23, so much information that it's going to honestly take multiple videos to cover it all. In this video here, we're going to look at the trailer, we're going to look at some screenshots, and we're going to also look at the basic overview of the game. We're going to look at some of the gameplay stuff, franchise stuff, and things like that. It's not going to go way too in depth, it's going to just be the basic information you need to know. The following videos are going to go much more in depth on all of these separate things. So if you don't want to miss those videos, make sure to subscribe, turn the bell icon on, because we're going to be covering a lot of news over the next few days and even the next 2 months. So let's take a quick look at the gameplay trailer that dropped today, and then I'll break down everything else after that.
John Madden changed the foundation of football, teaching, coaching, and broadcasting the sport through the tip of a pen.
The left goes to right goes to left.
To further his vision of sharing real football, we've created FieldSense, an all-new gameplay system. FieldSense changes the foundation of how you play by giving you more control all over the field. Control to put the ball where only your receiver can catch it.
I've been going crazy. I've been doing my thing.
Control to make explosive cuts each time you put your foot in the ground. Control to break loose with new mechanics and cheetah speed.
They cannot hold me.
Is he happy?
FieldSense gives you the power to read, react, and hit everything. With more control to blow up a play from any position on every down. Just like Coach taught us. Play like mad with FieldSense.
Now, of course, with the trailer, you kind of get the cinematic shots. It's not really telling you too much about the game. The next information is going to cover a little bit more in depth that you can expect. In the following videos in the following days, I'm going to dive super deep into all of this stuff and break down literally every single thing you need to know about all of this new FieldSense technology. But to talk about it briefly, there's 4 pillars to this new FieldSense system. The first is called Hit Everything. Redefining defensive pursuit, the new Hit Everything mechanics lets you be more disruptive on defense. New animation branching technology in Madden 23 enables next-gen hit stick physics so you can perform mid-air knockouts, hit the pile to assist in tackles already in progress, blow up blocks, and force turnovers with stand-up tackles. Now, I did get to play the game briefly a couple weeks ago, and I will say that this is, to me, one of the best changes about the game because now each individual player is pretty independent of one another. They can pile on to existing tackle animations. They can come from out of nowhere and try to blow up a play with a hit stick. They're not all tethered together or just kind of stand around when they can't get involved in an animation. Now more players have the opportunity to be independent of one another and can organically add on, knock players down, trip players up, and all of that good stuff. So it definitely looks more next gen and a little more lifelike than what we've seen in the past for Madden. The next pillar of FieldSense is skill-based passing. You can lead your receivers open, drop back shoulder throws into tight windows, and place every pass where only your receiver can catch it with surgical accuracy thanks to this all-new way to pass. Skill-based passing introduces a new accuracy reticle and passing meter. Now, I'm going to have a separate video breaking all of this down in a few days with some exclusive footage from EA themselves. So again, make sure you're subscribed if you don't want to miss that. There's a lot to cover with skill-based passing. It really needs its own separate video, but just know that now you got a lot of new catch animations. You can throw proper end zone fades finally, back shoulder fade. You can drop passes perfectly in that breadbasket area. You can put the ball away from defenders like never before. It's definitely a little difficult to use. It's going to take some time to learn, but it's definitely opening up things that were never before possible when passing in Madden before. The next pillar of FieldSense is 360-degree cuts. Whether you're a running back, wide receiver after the catch, or returning a kick, new 360-degree cuts gives you the freedom and fluidity as a ball carrier to hit the gaps as you want, plant and go, and elude defenders using the left trigger or L2 button and a well-timed flick of the stick. Now, we've seen this in years past as well. They always try to give you more control when hitting the hole. We've seen them do this multiple times. We saw the one cut system in Madden 19. I would say this is a little bit better. It's not as gimmicky. There's no speed boost, but you can hard plant and really change direction better than ever. It's good for cutback runs. It's good in the open field to kind of stutter step with it if you want to fake a defender out. It definitely gives you a little bit more control than what we've had in the past. And lastly, there's wide receiver versus DB battles, a suite of new wide receiver release release moves and defensive back counter press mechanic make for some fancy footwork and crucial 1v1 battles off the line. You may have noticed this a little bit in the trailer with the Jamar Chase clip, how he kind of goes back and forth a little bit, he kind of stutters. Now you kind of see receivers actually try to fake out and set up defenders like you would in real life. They don't all just release the same few ways or run routes the same few ways, and if you click onto them, specifically if you're playing like face of the franchise and stuff like that and you want to be a receiver, you have a lot more freedom in how you want to use your receiver and set up these DBs. And on the other side of the ball, DBs actually have new counter moves for this as well, depending on ratings and just depending on any given play, how they react to what the wide receiver is doing. Now, when it comes to the field sense, which is the biggest overall change of the game, making the gameplay more organic, making it a little bit more physics-based than what we've seen in the past. Yes, there's a lot of new animations, over 3,500 of them, which you do need in the game, but the way they interact is definitely a little bit a step above what we've experienced in the past. This is the biggest change to the game. This is on the new consoles only because a lot of this goes with the new player movement and the new tech that they're using on new consoles. So if you're on the old consoles, you're not getting this field sense stuff. However, in terms of the different modes, all of that should remain the same on both consoles. You should get the updates for franchise, face of the franchise, ultimate team, and all of that. And we're going to break down some of those changes right now. They're not going too in depth with it because they usually pick one day each week and they're going to dive deep into franchise by itself, in the face of the franchise by itself. But we got a little bit of a taste of what we can expect, and we're going to talk about that now. So franchise mode, it says here, call the shots from the front office as you lead your Madden NFL 23 franchise to the top. The drama of NFL free agency leads the way with new athletic motivations like team location and salary demand factoring into contract negotiations. New player tags improve off-season activity logic and impact player progression. Updated trade logic AI represents the value of star players more accurately for fair and more realistic offers. Continue to plan and strategize like an NFL head coach with redefined scouting, staff management, and weekly strategy features. Now, keep in mind, this is just a very basic way to describe what's being done to franchise. They're going to go much more in depth when they have the franchise day, whichever day that winds up being. So again, that's why you want to be subscribed so I could break it down for you. But I did get to look at this when I was down at EA, and the free agency stuff is very, very, very in depth. It's way better than maybe any type of free agency that's ever been in Madden. There's a lot that factors into how you sign players and what their demands are. And some players are just not obtainable because of maybe your team location or the fact that your team isn't good enough. And different athletes kind of come with different roles now that can affect things on the team and also affect if they want to be traded or if they want to sign with a new team, this, that, and the third. And there's also a lot of other little things sprinkled throughout franchise that they're going to dive deeper into when that day comes. But right now, they haven't put too much info out there on it, so I don't want to dive too deep on it yet because it might be info that they're not completely ready to release just yet. Face of the franchise, the league. The league drops you into your 5th NFL season at a skill position of your choice: quarterback, wide receiver, running back, cornerback, and middle linebacker, and you're seeking a fresh start with a new team. Negotiate a 1-year prove-it contract with one of the 32 NFL teams to show out with great on-field performance to earn and level up. New position-specific mechanics brought to life by Field Sense and player-focused camera brings you closer to the action and add to the gameplay depth by allowing you to dominate every snap from anywhere on the field. The addition of the new drive goals and drive summaries allow you to tweak your experience throughout the game to get feedback and rewards based on how well you play. Get performance boosts from weekly activities and training between games, while Madden ratings adjuster Chad Johnson guides your career development by providing ratings updates as you strive for the highest level of prestige on your road to 99. Will your NFL career rank among the all-time greats? It's up to you. Now, this is a mode that, I've been on record every year saying is not very good. It hasn't been good. I don't know if it's going to be good this year, but they've changed it up a little bit. They've taken the college out in the high school, and it sounds like, from what I heard when I was down there, they took a lot of the story part out of it. Like, there's still some story elements there, sure, but it seems like they've dialed it back more, and they're just trying to make it to where you get to the league quickly. You're now allowed to be a cornerback, which is new. They still don't have all positions open. They just keep opening a new one each year, but at this point, there's at least a decent amount of positions for you to choose from, a couple on defense and a few on offense. I think next year they're going to fully bring back superstar mode when the NCAA games come back. That's just my guess, but we'll see if face of the franchise is good. They've definitely done some things that I think sound good. They've gotten rid of some of the fluff, but if the mode actually plays well, that we don't know because it really hasn't in the past, so I can't assume that it will. The Yard and Superstar KO are still in the game, but based on the write-ups on the website, it doesn't really sound like they did anything to it. They're just kind of back. And I do think these modes have a lot of potential if they would build on them, but they've kind of just left them mostly the same and added little tweaks here and there. And Madden Ultimate Team, they really haven't talked too much about that as well. They just mentioned here that they simplified set building that allows you to navigate the binder more effectively and focus on improving your team faster, which I think is a good quality of life feature. They also mentioned that the first ever field pass challenge and reward tracker is coming to Ultimate Team, but I don't really know exactly what that means either. But again, these separate things, they'll dive a little bit deeper on in a few weeks. In terms of release date, August 19th is the worldwide release. The All Madden edition comes out 3 days early like always on July 16th. There are some pre-order bonuses for each edition of the game. I'll pop those up on the screen really quickly. If you want to read over them, just pause the video and read what is offered in the pre-orders. Also, something else I want you to take note of looking at some of these screenshots, like we assumed by judging the other screenshots that had kind of leaked, it looks like they have redone the body types. It looks like the archetypes are a little bit more accurate. It does look like the pads have been severely slimmed down. I believe this is probably going to be new consoles only, so don't shoot the messenger, but that's kind of what I assume, because the next gen screenshots, if you notice, the pads are much smaller and slimmer and look like what these players wear in real life now. They've finally done away with the bulkiness, but if you look at the last gen screenshots, I'll pop up a couple on the screen, you can see the pads are still as big as ever. So it looks like on the new consoles, they've redone some of the body types, they've slimmed the pads down, and even in a couple of these screenshots, you can see some of the stuff with the equipment. We'll find out more about that later on, but you could see the towel, for example, in some of these images are on the back side of the player, which I know is a small thing, but a lot of people have complained about that they want to be able to adjust those and move them around for the skill position specifically. So it looks like there's a lot of those little changes that are coming, but they'll break those down in the coming weeks, I'm sure. Now, I've got more videos on the way, so make sure to subscribe and check out this video right here on the screen where we got an early look at some of the new animations that are coming to Madden 23.